Really struggling to get the rear brake biting there. It appears to be biting good. It could be that the rear brakes are contaminated. I'm going to look for a brand new caliper. I just think for ease, I think a new caliper, if it's reasonably priced enough, would be a good idea. Side panel we've got. I'm going to do the front brake now. That's just a simple front hose change. And I think it will just come back quick and easy. That one won't be an issue. But saying that, I always say that and often have issues. So let's do that. Let's change the pipe. I'll show you guys roughly what I'm doing, but it's not too much to it. Just running the new lead, and then I'll do my dribble system to get it down, or just keep tapping the lever, whatever. I'm not too fussed, and we'll get some bite. I can't even ride the bike yet because the rear is so bad. It would be really silly to test run it. It's got very, very little bite. Here to here to here to here. What size is that? 12, 13. Ooh. Yeah.
I only partially play it, but on my racer, I tried doing it the old way where there's no air in it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get it on without pinching it, so I just partially inflated it, so it's inside the tyre.
Yeah.
Or they're just flicking through the ads and they see another one that's, whatever.
There's not, yeah, but I flick through the ads myself, and there's not many out there that match my level of servicing and stuff. See it? I need to work out how I want this to sit. It's probably. And if you don't have great bite at the end, tie the lever down overnight.
And then it gets it all out.
Yeah, and it just comes out naturally. It's a good system. That's it, you just tap away, John, tiny. Loads of bubbles are coming up because the fluid's going down. Simple as that. Look, while bubbles come up, fluid's going down. So you can bleed front brakes always, even with the cap on, by tapping the lever. So every morning, if you tap your lever, you'll get a tiny bit more bite that day. And you know they're bled fully when it spits. It's going to take a while because this whole line's. And I find, look, the Genster, if you're rough, don't do much. Look, if you give the tiniest squeeze slowly, you get loads at a time, and you get the micro ones. Because the micro ones all build up. Right, we've got good front brake, good bite. I'm going to run them up and down, drag the brakes a bit, bed them in, dry them out, see what we got. With the front brake now, it's safe at least. Yeah, it should be quite smooth.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, it got a bit. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's cleaning.
You locked it up there?
Yeah, I locked it up. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's cleaning. Front brake's great. Front brake's no issue. Rear. Oh look.
What?
Look, the smoke. I was dragging the rear brake.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you locked it up this then.
Yeah, yeah. I went for a ride yesterday. I've got a friend who lives up in... He lives in a place called Chertsey, but it's quite small. You might not know of it. Kind of past Feltham. About an hour and 10-minute ride from Islington. The ride there was fine, no issue at all. The ride back was horrible. And I'm not talking about traffic, I'm talking about the bike. First of all, front tyre felt flat. I think the front tyre is flat, so it might have a very slow puncture. I'm going to chuck the pump on it and just check that. Secondly, the fan, I've talked about it before, but the bike, the fan has this constant, it's always on, ultimately. And the bike runs at close to its maximum level. Now, you check online everywhere, and 2 bars under is quite normal for this bike. But it just don't feel right for me that the bike's always at that kind of just teetering on the edge of overheating, and that the fan's always on. And then to kind of really kick me in the teeth, the bloody oil pressure light came on, which really upset me because I was on the M4. So I came off the M4 just to check that I had oil up. That was the first thing. I thought, shit, somehow the oil was gone. And it hadn't. The oil was great. It did look a bit thin. It looked a bit overfill. Anyway, I have to kind of work this out, and then I'm looking at the chain now, and it's quite slack there. So I need to do an hour's worth of maintenance on my own bike this morning before John gets here to build his little electric pedal bike thing. But the cooling issues on this bike are famous. They're world famous, they're cooling issues, and some of them come down to the fact that there's a shroud on the fan here that isn't overly helpful. So you can cut away that plastic shroud. I haven't yet found a double fan or a more powerful fan. I haven't yet found something to put on. You can get aluminium radiator upgrades, but this is aluminium. I don't know what people are talking about. Maybe in other countries they're not. This is aluminium, so I'm not quite sure what you'd be looking for. Now the oil pressure switch is here, guys. That's it there. That's the oil pressure switch. So the wiring, I'd be checking the wiring, which is here and fine. I'd probably be changing the pressure switch, just in case. And I'm going to disconnect the battery because it's a computerized system. Sometimes that goes wrong as well. Second to that, the thermostat behind here, there's a thermostat which is here. It's a housed thermostat. People remove and delete them. The bike seems to run cooler like that. It seems to be an issue in the winter because they don't run at great temp, and better in the summer. So I kind of don't know what to do. What I might do is just put a new one on. And I'm already using ice coolant. But yeah, really, the bike really kind of tipped me over the edge a touch on the way back yesterday because it just didn't feel right. So I'm going to check the tyre pressure. I have no doubt it's low. There's probably a slow puncture in there. Yeah, it's definitely low. And then one thing that came up on a forum was that we keep topping up the bottle up here, but actually the radiator may not be topped up. The bottle may not be going into the radiator. So I do want to check that. I am going to check that. I'm going to try and take the lid off and see if the radiator has coolant in it. It should do, but you just never know. And I don't actually know if I've got enough ice coolant. Right, now cold. Let's look at the viewing window. Let's level up. Look, the oil's at perfect. Absolutely spot on. But when it was really thin and hot yesterday, it was quite high. The other consideration for cooling problems would be head gasket failure, but I don't think this has that. There's no other symptoms. The fan down here, the actual pump down there, pumping the coolant around. But again, the thermostat seems to cause issues. If it's stuck closed, it seems to cause issues. I don't think it's stuck closed because this bike heats up in seconds and the fan kicks in. So I think, if anything, it's stuck open. So my taking it out and deleting it wouldn't save that issue. So my first check is going to be under here, check if there's any coolant. I don't think I have to pop these plastics. I don't fancy popping them. That's one big plastic, isn't it? But maybe I shouldn't need to, actually. I should be able to just get in there. Is there a screw on this one? Some of them have a screw. Right, let's check. Let's see what tyre pressure we are. Zero or 1. Wow. I need to check what's happened there. I have plugged this tyre in the past. It can't have been 0 because it's already at 20. But yeah, I have plugged it. Maybe the plug's leaking a touch. So you won't be able to see it, but there's no coolant at the top. That doesn't mean there's none at all. I don't think I've got enough ice coolant left. I'm a bit screwed here. I might have to put in some ice and some water for now and then do a full flush soon. Yeah, I've got a different coolant. It's not going to be exact, but it'll be better than water. That's like half a litre, so that's nuts. I think the system's running on nothing. That's crazy. Right, there we are. Spilt a tiny bit there. Right, I think let's fire up and... I mean, what? We put in a litre there, that's crazy. Let's fire it up and just circulate it. So guys, there's a leak in the radiator here. Just noticed that, so I've been topping it up. There's a leak, look, you can see it on the corner there. Alright, do you know what? Part of me's happy about that because at least I know the fix, John, eh? Guys, after reassessing, right, I think just where I spilt down the radiator and it compiled in there, it's not leaking now. I've just run it for a good 10 minutes. The fan's kicking on earlier. The coolant, it's staying lower. I'll of course keep an eye on it, and I may actually just order a radiator soon just in case, just to have spare. But it doesn't appear to be leaking like I thought it was. It's just where I overspilled and the cap wasn't on. So I just tested it with the cap on. It wasn't spilling at all. I'm now just disconnecting the battery for a few minutes to reset the computer in hope that the oil warning isn't a thing. If it's still a thing, the oil warning, I'm going to change the oil pressure light switch first, just in case. Guys, just for transparency while I'm doing bits and pieces, sometimes I stop filming, but this is the switch we're looking at. Now what you do is you take the electrics out first, which is going to be a pain. There you go. We'll check that they're just clean at this stage, that actually the connection doesn't look great. And then you twist out the actual mechanism here. So again, my hands aren't too strong at the moment, but I'll try and twist it out. And then we'll test it on the system by pressing it. So let me get that off, we'll connect it back on, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's a little bit crudded, but nothing major. What we do is connect it back up. They're a little bit corroded. I need to get some contact cleaner soon. Let me grab the key and we'll see if by me pressing the button by hand the rear light comes on.